Hello, class. I just want to take a minute to talk about learning in general. That's kind of what we're doing, right? But I want to talk about different levels of learning. This is going to get into a little bit of teaching science, but I want to just briefly touch on that just to talk about how it's structured in our class here. So as you learn things, you learn within what's called the cognitive domain, basically stuff inside your head. And what you can learn and kind of the level at which you can learn it goes up based on kind of what you can do with that information. The lowest level of learning is knowledge and comprehension, where basically it's stuff you can regurgitate, facts. That's not usually super duper important because we all have these phones that can do that for us. But then beyond that gets into application. We're going to start to apply stuff, maybe do some calculations and produce a little bit with that knowledge that you've learned. Beyond that is where we get into analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. So those things are where you got to really use your brain power. And this is what you as a human are really good for, because all those earlier stuff, knowledge, comprehension, application, we can train a computer to do those things. To train a computer to analyze, to synthesize, and to evaluate, that's a lot harder. So that's where a human is needed. And that's why you're taking classes, so you can become better at these things. And our modules are set up to sort of scaffold our way through those learning processes. That we start off with the video lesson and the first couple multiple choice questions of the problem set, which are really knowledge and comprehension level stuff. And then the problem set gets into application, where we're doing some calculations and applying what we've learned in slightly new situations, but really just doing the same things what we've seen done before. And that's where we've done most of your math up to this point. All your algebraic math usually stops at the application level, where you see a teacher do a problem, you do a similar problem with just different numbers and apply what you've learned to this new problem. But you're really applying the exact same reasoning. As we bump into analysis, which is going to be sometimes the later portions of the problem set, but also, of course, the analysis assignments, analysis is a little bit trickier because you're not just mirroring what you've seen done before. You're actually taking the information in front of you and analyzing it and figuring out, all right, what does this really mean, and applying your own thought process to it. Now, this is a skill that sometimes we call this kind of thing like critical thinking. This is a skill that you got to build up with time. It is not something that you're going to get by watching someone else do it. It's something that you have to do. And I bring this up because a lot of times when we struggle with something, our knee-jerk reaction is to Google it, to look it up, to say, what have other people done? If you do this for analysis, you're only going to hurt yourself, because you need the practice of struggling with it, of looking at it, of trying to determine, what does this really mean? If you're struggling to the point that you can't move forward, please come to me for help. That's what I'm here for, is to help you with your learning process. Going off to sites like Chegg Study and Course Hero, that's going to only hinder you, because you're just going to get somebody else that does it for you and you're not building your skills up. Then as the course progresses and I give you even more challenging analysis and synthesis type situations, you're not going to have built up the skills necessary to do that. So it's really important early on in this course that we do it ourselves, that we go through the process, this learning process of really doing this work, which includes struggling. It includes looking at something for a while, trying stuff out. A lot of times it's doing some extra calculations on paper to play with it, or doing extra work to play with it and say, all right, what would it look like if I change things up just a little bit? That's what we want to do in our analysis assignments, is we want to play around with things and not just look at what the end result is that I'm looking for. That's not always going to be just a direct from point A to point B. A lot of times it's work that you have to do behind the scenes to truly understand the situation. And if you're not sure what to do, reach out and ask for help. I'm here for you. I want to help you. I want to help you through the learning process, but we got to make sure that we're doing this as a learning process, and it takes time. And so along those lines, make sure you're doing a little bit of work every day, but also doing good, genuine, honest work. And again, sometimes that's more than just the bare minimum of what I'm looking for as far as an answer. It's to explore it and see what's going on. And again, if you have any questions at all, please reach out. I'm here for you and want to help you through this learning process.